The Business Leadership Awards will be presented this evening to members of the Chelsea Area Chamber of Commerce who are not only catalysts and advocates for business and area and organizations, but who also promote a vital business community. They have shown leadership in one or more of the following areas: displaying innovative ideas and services, contributing to the economic impact of the City of Chelsea, providing services that meet the needs of the Chelsea area community, enhancing the uniqueness of the community image, demonstrating leadership in their business category, and supporting the activities of the Chelsea Area Chamber of Commerce. Now we're going to move along to the awards where you actually hear people that you want to hear speak. At this time, I'd like to have Ann Colon come up to the stage to introduce and announce the winner of the 2021 Small Business Leadership Award.
I have the privilege this evening of introducing Michelle Tuplin, owner of Serendipity Books and the recipient of the 2021 Small Business Leadership Award. British author Neil Gaiman stated, "A town isn't a town without a bookstore." He would be so happy to know a fellow Brit owns a bookstore right here in Chelsea, Michigan. We are so lucky Michelle made that trip across the pond in 1995, settled in Chelsea with her beautiful family in 1998, and became the sole owner of Serendipity Books in 2017. There was a recent article in the Detroit Free Press about celebrating Independent Bookstore Day. Neil Rubin noted it is the annual celebration of the bold merchants who've armed themselves with knowledge and personalized service to fend off Walmart and Amazon. So yes, it was Michelle and her crew alone who moved 15,000 books from the storefront on West Middle Street to the new location on East Middle Street in January of this year. I wonder if at some point during that move, Michelle was rethinking the independent bookstore idea. According to Gloria Steinem, wherever I go, bookstores are still the closest thing to a town square. Michelle has provided that town square for us. All people of all ages are welcomed warmly by Michelle and her staff. There is something for everyone: books, graphic novels, note cards, pins, and other creative gifts. She leads a monthly book club and respectfully listens to all opinions, even when some of us question her choice of the monthly read. She collaborates with our own library and other district libraries. Her inventory helps us step out of our comfort zone and causes us to pause and consider new ideas, new ways of thinking. Michelle was nominated for this award by Deborah Oatley, who praised Michelle for getting her household and the Chelsea community through the COVID restrictions by thinking outside the box and changing her business model. Michelle made it safe for us to pick up books and puzzles. She used Zoom for book club, a writers group, and interviews with authors. Michelle Tuplin has worked hard to create a successful small business. The Chelsea community should be proud of itself for supporting an independent bookstore. Jerry Seinfeld would agree. He has praise for Michelle and our Chelsea community when he says, "A bookstore is one of the only pieces of evidence we have that people are still thinking." Thank you, Michelle, for all that you do to make us think. And let me help her get set up.
I know you're paying.
There you go. Step right up here, please.
I think I can just sit right down now, and Anne said everything for me. Thank you, Anne. It's an absolute honour to be here and to be acknowledged with this Small Business Leadership Award. I'd like to talk about what it means to me to own Serendipity Books here in Chelsea. And I also want to talk about how I thought I needed to travel to understand the world, but along the way I've discovered the importance of community. It may all have begun with this book. It is a very stained, falling apart copy of The Midnight Children by Salman Rushdie. The important bit is right there. On that very water-stained checkout page, the date is 1992, and it came from the British Council Library in Quito, in Ecuador. In 1992, I was 21 and already had a serious case of the travel bug. I come from a very isolated village in East Yorkshire. East Yorkshire is halfway up England on the right-hand side, and about halfway up East Yorkshire, there's a peninsula, and on that peninsula, there's an area called Holderness. It's an ancient spot of flat farmland that sticks out into the North Sea. There are a bunch of small villages, many churches, a lot of sea fog, and not very much else at all, maybe some windy roads and some farms. It's one of the spots that the Vikings landed at when they invaded England. I was determined to see more of the world than Holderness had to offer, to experience and learn new things, cultures and attitudes. And at that time, I thought that travel was the only way to do that. So there I was 21, I believe I dropped this book in the bottom of a canoe as I headed down the Amazon. I was a very messy 21-year-old. I tried to return it to the British Council Library, and to my great shock, they said no. And not only that, they made me pay a fine. One of many library fines that I have paid over the years. And now the book belongs to me. I take care of about 15,000 books. I've grown a lot, and I can attest that all of them actually are in better condition than this one right here. But this one remains precious to me because it reminds me that travel isn't the only way to extend understanding, and that books alone can be our travel portal, and we can learn and experience and grow without even leaving our front porches. When we read, we gain knowledge and awareness, and from that comes understanding, and most importantly, empathy. Something that we can never have enough of. As for Serendipity Books, I hope this is what it's all about. I try and make it a space that offers knowledge and fun stories, but also a spot that builds awareness and empathy, and that's a welcoming, non-judgmental spot for all. I then try and extend this approach out into the community beyond the four walls of the bookstore itself. The bookstore's relationship with the community is a two-way thing. It's symbiotic. The store both reflects community interests and also plays a role in building interest and new conversations in the community. Because here's the thing, I thought that empathy was an individual quality, but it turns out it's a building block of community, and community is the magic ingredient that makes all of this work. When I set out on my travels from that small village in Yorkshire, I planned to leave the notion of small town community behind. I thought I would become a citizen of the world, a member of the international community. But no, I was wrong. Instead, actually, I have turned into my mother. Let me explain. When I was a young girl, I would walk with Mum into the market to pick up things for dinner. Tea, we called it. We'd visit the bakers and the butchers and the greengrocers. And every step of the way, Mum would have to stop to have her quick little chats with friends and acquaintances. I thought this was a form of personal torture directly aimed at me, since all I was interested in was reaching the shop at the far end of the high street that sold the best chocolate bars. Now, as I walk from West to East Middle Street, which is my daily commute from home to the bookstore, I see so many people who have become friends. Gosh, I've even become pals with some of the neighbourhood dogs along the way. The important thing is that all of these people I say hi to, I know they have my back, just as I have theirs. And being a part of this community means the world to me. It gives me a sense of belonging and grounding that I cherish every day. And the ironic thing then is that in so many ways, I feel I haven't travelled very far at all. Chelsea reminds me so much of that little village in Yorkshire, and I, now having my own little quick chats along the way, remind myself of my mum. So here I am, living my dream. I talk and read and think books all day long, using them as a personal portal to travel and experience new things. I nurture my bookstore as a non-judgmental spot full of learning and kindness that all in the community can enjoy. And I get to extend that work out into the community, building and strengthening the very same thing that embraces me back and makes me feel a part of something bigger than myself. And then, just when I think it can't get any better, there's major icing on the cake here. For while I get to live my dream, I get seen for doing the things I love. People say wonderful things about the role Serendipity Books plays in the community. I win this award. All you kind folks make a big old fuss. Friends send me flowers. Terrace brings me balloons. And I'm invited to this party. It really is the coolest thing. So finally, my thank yous. Rather than thanking individuals, I'd like to thank you all as a community in this following way. Thank you all for making this so easy. Thank you for accepting me and welcoming me and allowing me to be a part of the thing that is so special. Thank you for being open to new ideas and thoughts. Thank you for seeing what I'm up to, and thank you for letting me live my dream every single day.
Awesome speech, Michelle. Nope. All right, okay. Thanks so much, Michelle. That was a powerful speech. It's now my pleasure to ask Bridget Favre and Doris Galvin up to announce the 2021 Large Business Leadership Award recipient.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Doris. This is Bridget. There are many under-the-radar stories in Chelsea. One of those stories is this year's Large Business Leadership Award recipient, Palmer Auto Service, and the people behind the story. Palmer Auto Service is managed and led by Bob Mock, Jr., owner, Brian Slaws, service manager, and Ryan Mock, parts manager. Doing well by doing good. 2020 was a year of learning for everyone. The Palmer Auto Service team came together to discover and implement new ways to safely help customers. As an essential business, they never shut down. They reached out daily to customers, especially seniors, by calling them to make sure everything was okay. They offered to run errands and help where needed, but most importantly, they provided a human connection to many people who felt isolated. In April of 2020, Palmer Auto Service donated $1,000 in gift cards from local restaurants to Chelsea Hospital to thank hospital staff for working on the front line during the COVID-19 pandemic.
When you walk into Palmer, it's more like walking into a home, and there's a family, and everybody works together, and they really care about one another. When the pandemic hit, the first thing Bobby said to me was, "How's everybody else doing?" He knew that the customers who would normally come into his shop every day were no longer coming in because they were going to pick the cars up. He knew those customers came in, would go to the different shops in downtown, and they would buy food, and they would go shopping, and that wasn't happening. So he immediately sat down and said, as a group collectively, how can we help the businesses downtown? So what he decided to do was put into place a year of acts of kindness. So each month we came up as a group with different ideas of how we could reach out to the community, how we could use them, and how we could share their blessings with everyone else. So we would do things like go out to farm suds, and we gave out lip balm from farm suds to all of the customers that came in. He's supporting the businesses downtown while also supporting his clients and letting him know how much he appreciated them. When he took over Palmer Auto, he took over the legacy that was built by Susie Palmer Weber. Susie Weber Palmer. She had started the Toys for Tots and Teens, and it was something that was very near and dear to her heart. And so she was worried that that was going to disappear. But when Palmer started just a week after the auto dealership closed, Bobby stepped right in and took over the Toys for Tots for Teens. And he made sure that there were enough toys and gifts to go around for all of the kids in the community. And this last year, I was part of loading up 2 skids full of toys, along with 2 truckloads full of toys to go to Faith in Action to help the local kids. So it's always been a pleasure to work with the team. Every time I go in there, they make me laugh. They have fun. It's very common to see Stephanie sitting in the front with one of the older customers, just chit-chatting, just talking, making sure they're okay, hanging out. Never a rush, never the feeling of, it's time for you to go, we have other things to do. It's always, how are you doing? What can we do? How can we hang out with you? You're important to us, let us know how we can help you. So, I am super proud and happy, along with Doris, to present the award to Bob Mock for the Large Business Leadership. And he is mad because now he has to make a speech.
It's true. So, firstly, if it wasn't for my team, I wouldn't be here. Every one of them does so much. Each one having their own special thing they do. And Stephanie is one. And during the COVID thing, we were just sitting talking, and I wonder how this person is. I wonder how this person is. Picks up the phone and 2-hour-long conversation. And Bailey, who, she's like my left hand, kind of knows what she needs to do before I even ask her to do it. And Pete, who's not here tonight, who's really kind of picking up some slack that we had originally retired. And then I have my awesome technicians who have my back. They're looking out for me all the time. So there's Jacob Huey, Jack Shireen, Jeff Kuzma, Justin Hine, and the new hire that we just hired, which was Jordan, and I'm going to butcher your name, Rael. These guys have really, they're quite a team. I mean, to see these guys sometimes get together and do things, that's amazing. The older guys helping the younger guys. And then two people that aren't here that are cleaning the shop right now that, really make it really nice for us to walk into a nice clean building. Sean Perocco and his wife Michelle. And I also have to thank my son and my son-in-law, who are constantly learning, and I'm their pain in the butt, and I'm being nice on that word, but they're my future to take over the business eventually. So we're all learning every day new ways to do things. If it wasn't for the two of them, I probably, I don't know if I'd still have the shop, truthfully, but they're my backbone. So I'm part of an organization called ATI. It's to help me manage the business as it ever changes. They're out of Baltimore. We have a 20 group that I go to twice a year. We have training that we do monthly via Zoom, or we go to Baltimore. And it's really been an eye-opener, and it makes me look and say, what's possible? That was the thing in 2020 when COVID hit, was what's possible? What can we do to help the customer in any way? Because it's more so, we're more about fixing people sometimes than we are fixing cars. So, a little about me, I guess. I grew up here in Chelsea. I started at Village Motor Sales when I was 16 years old, washing cars. And Tom Stock, when I graduated, sent me to Chrysler for 9 months to train at Chrysler training. 2 months after I'm done with training, Don Knoll, who was the service manager at that time, had a heart attack, a massive heart attack, and Tom met me at the door and said, basically, you're the man. Wow, 18 years old, that was pretty tough. But we got through that. So it's kind of cool growing up in this town and having a business in this town. All through high school, you just you're not thinking about that. But it's pretty cool being able to have a business in the community you grew up in. So when Palmer's closed, and Biff told us that he was closing the dealership, 45 days from the day he told me, we were telling customers like the very next Tuesday, because Monday was Labor Day. And retirees from CRC and around town basically coming to the counter and just crying because they don't leave town. They go to the hospital, they go to Polly's, they come to the local businesses. That's as far as they go. And some of these people were going to have to travel to Ann Arbor. And they literally were, I can't remember the lady's name, but I had a lady in tears, which put something in my head, and why can't I just keep the service going? Can't sell cars, but we can keep the service going. So I talked to Biff, and we got some things worked out. I had 45 days to get all the licensing, and so that I could continue on. If it wasn't for my wife, who pushed and helped, I'd have got it done, but it wouldn't have been in 45 days. And I'm going to share a little. I wish I had the post that she put up on Facebook just the other day about the gentleman who was pushed off the boat into a pond of crocodiles and had to swim. But that's not the way it actually read, but that's the end of the story. That's her. So she pushed me and got me to get all the stuff to transfer over to Palmer Auto Service from Palmer Ford. A couple years down the road, she also, when the building was going to be sold, Biff was going to sell the building. She was the push on that to buy the building. But like I say, if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I'd be. So we all have bad days when you're at work. You always not always, but you're going to go along and you just have that day that's from HELL. I walked down my stairs from my office, and I had this terrible day, and I turn around. There's a picture of George Palmer standing right there on the wall, and I'll say to myself, George, what would you do? Anybody who knew George Palmer, the man was awesome. I had 2 good bosses, and he was the last one I had. He took care of a lot of people, and so I want to model myself somewhat after him for what he did for the community and for his employees. George always looked beyond the business to do what he could do for his community. That's just constantly. And Bridget saying something about Susie. That was one thing Susie was pretty down on when the dealership closed, is how that was going to continue on with Faith in Action. And I told her, we're going to continue it on, just like you did. And she did it for what? 1990, 80s? Thank you. 80 what? Sometime in the 80s. So it was a privilege for actually to take that and keep going. We enjoy it. A lot of people come in, drop toys off. You don't see them all the time. And then knowing that we're going to take them down, and some little kid's going to get a toy that wasn't delivered by a Marine. Not that I'm discrediting the Marine Corps, but it wasn't delivered by a Marine. So the parents were actually able to give them something. So a couple more things about myself. I am on the advisory committee for Ann Arbor Public Schools for their auto program, which I had an advisory meeting today at 1 o'clock, and the Southwest Washtenaw County Consortium, which is kind of cool because it lets me help the young kids coming up and giving some of the ideas to the staff member what they are going to have to be looking for in the future. Let's see. And finally, I'd like to thank D&B, Doris and Bridget. They do so much for us. They do all our marketing. Bridget's always there posting things for me on Facebook, helping me with my speech, at least putting something down for me to write after she just sucked it all out of my head. So, but thank you. I'm not a good speaker, obviously, so.
First off, I think you're wrong. I think that was a great speech, Bob. You're not giving yourself enough credit. I like the part where you talked about you don't necessarily just fix cars, you fix people. That was, did she do that? You did that. That was good. Yeah, okay. All right, moving along. If Denise Cugliar could come up to announce the 2021 Nonprofit Business Leadership Award.
Good evening. So the Business Leadership Awards. When you think of Business Leadership Awards, we added the nonprofit, and most people wondered why, like nonprofit, it's in their mission statement. Like everything that they're doing is, they're doing it for the community, so why are we adding this award? And honestly, like Chelsea is abundant in amazing nonprofits, so how could we not recognize them? So the Chelsea District Library, if you listen to their mission statement, engage, inspire, equip. Oh my God, that's a lot. I really don't know how you do it. It's so broad, but you do, you honestly do. And how do you win the business aspect of this though, with the chamber? I mean, I could give you awards for the amazing programs that you guys do, awards for the service that you do to the community. Heck, you guys deserve an award just for putting up with my 15-year-old. And all Chelsea 15-year-olds. I mean, Lori, for God's sakes, Lori deserves an award for being the only executive director I've ever known in my life to rock business, rockabilly, punk rock chic. I have never seen an executive director wear a blazer and combat boots the way you do, girl. You get an award just for that. But how do you win the Business Leadership Award? Where does that fall into place? Honestly, you're a chamber member. That's one of the requirements. You bring people to Chelsea. You make us unique. That's one of the requirements. But that could all be part of your mission statement. I love you guys, but honestly, sitting down with business people in Chelsea and listening to them, how you engage our business community, how you just bring everybody up. You guys support not only children, parents, but you are supporting our business community like no one else. It is inspiring to see what you guys are doing. This year alone, this year and last year, Serendipity Books, Purple Rose Theater, Secret Crisis Comics, all these people are here, by the way. Washtenaw County Parks, Faith in Action, Barn Sanctuary, and then over the last decade, the work that you have done with Sounds and Sights, Sculpture Walk, it's all there. And it is beyond my pleasure to announce you guys as the 2021, don't start crying, don't you start it, the 2021 Nonprofit Business Leadership Award, because you guys, every single one of you deserve it.
I didn't expect I would be so neat. It's a group effort. I am so happy and honored to accept this award on behalf of the Chelsea District Library. When poet Billy Collins spoke at the Midwest Lit Walk last month, he shared an anecdote about having dinner at the Common Grill the previous night. His wife called him, and as he struggled to be heard over the happy noise of fellow diners, he told her, "I'm beginning to fall in love with Chelsea." His wife's response was, "Who? Who are you falling in love with? Who?" "With Chelsea. I'm falling in love with the town of Chelsea." I certainly hope he was able to clear things up with his wife. But the reason I share this anecdote with you is because it reflects the feeling all of us associated with the Chelsea District Library have for this wonderful, remarkable community we serve. We have all fallen in love with Chelsea. This award is so validating for us. We love the work we do, and we are so pleased you see the value in what we bring to this community. We are a small but mighty public library. The past 2 years have been challenging, and this award is even more gratifying, knowing that you recognize the extraordinary work our staff did and continues to do as we adapt to keep you informed, equipped, entertained, and in fulfilling that mission to engage, inspire, and equip. Now it's time to spread some love around here. On behalf of the library, I would like to thank Denise for nominating us. This award is even more meaningful knowing that you nominated us. It's always such a pleasure to work with you, and you have our respect and gratitude. Thanks to the Chelsea Area Chamber for hosting this event and being such awesome partners throughout the year. You do such great work. Thanks to the board of the Chelsea District Library, TJ, Gary, Susan, Charlie, Patricia, Jan, and Ann. We couldn't ask for a more supportive, engaged, and committed group of people guiding us. Your leadership through the good times and the challenging times is valued. Thanks to our amazing friends and library volunteers. You are our advocates and cheerleaders. Through your tireless and hard work, you support all the terrific programs we do and the resources we make available to the public. Thanks to those of you who donate to the library and sponsor our programs. Because of your generosity, we are able to do some pretty amazing things. Thanks to our steadfast and loyal patrons, You are the reason we are here, and it's an honor to serve you. And finally, I accept this award on behalf of the truly amazing staff at the Chelsea District Library. Some of them are up here right now. I never imagined working in a place that could be so congenial and fun, and at the same time do such important, valuable work. You truly are the best. You're smart, you're creative, you're inquisitive, you're dedicated people, and I am grateful for you every day. I hope you don't mind if I recognize our staff now. They are the heart and soul of our library. So, in no order of importance, Linda, Chris, Virginia, Terry, Elaine, Shannon, Scott, Jordan, Kristen, Beth E., Beth G., Martha, Jean, Jennifer, Amy, Jenny, Julie, Maya, Mary, Laura, Stacy, Edith, Gabrielle, Catherine, Jessica, Matt, Everett, and Carrie. I have to include Carrie in that list. He is our bookkeeper, and he's fantastic. So this is award. It's your award, and on your behalf, I extend a heartfelt thanks to you all. Thank you.
Chuck's on top of it. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and ask if Chuck, Rick, and Peter will come up and introduce the 2021 Citizen of the Year Award.
Thank you very much. We all voted him for him, so we all get to say something. I'm just going to tell a joke. One walked into Baskin Robbins, said to the man behind the counter, "I'd like to get a cone of chocolate ice cream." And the guy said, "I'm sorry, man, we're all out of chocolate. Can you choose another flavor?" Lady said, "Oh, okay, I'll take a pint of chocolate ice cream to go." And he says, "Man, we don't have any chocolate, that's the problem." "Okay, I'll take a half gallon of chocolate ice cream, please." And he says, "Man, we don't have any chocolate at all." "Okay, fine, I'll take a whole gallon of chocolate ice cream. I don't appreciate the upsell." He says, "Listen, lady, can you spell the straw in strawberry?" And she says, "S-T-R-W, straw." "Well, can you spell the van in vanilla? V-A-N, van." "Well, can you spell the stink in chocolate?" "There is no stink in chocolate." That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, choose another flavor. My dad once told me that the customer is always right. And then he revised that as he stayed in business longer. And he said, the customer is not necessarily always right, but the customer is always the customer. And so you take care of them. I don't know that I've ever been taken care of better than when I've gone to Chelsea Lumber to ask a question about something that I was doing at my house. I was honored. I run this little newspaper called the Sun-Times News, and I was honored. Thank you very much. My reader over there. I was honored to participate in an interview a couple of months ago. We got this lead on this story about a guy in Chelsea who was raising a whole bunch of money to build this sports recreation facility for kids. And I was really impressed, and I said to Lonnie Human, our writer, I said, "Lonnie, I want to go with you. I'll take a picture. I want to meet John. I've never met him." And I was so impressed, not necessarily with the fact that the guy has single-handedly raised $1.5 million, $1.6 million for this recreation facility, for the sports facility, for the kids in Chelsea. I was more impressed with the guy's humility and the fact that he didn't want to take any credit for it, even in the bathroom tonight. I asked him, "So John, how's it going? How much money have you made?" And he said, "Oh, we're just reaching $1.6 million right now." And I said, "Is that all you?" He said, "No, I've done my part." And I talked with Pete here, and Pete said, "Oh, that's John. He'll never take the credit." And that is what I think really sealed the deal for me and caught my vote.
Hey, thanks, Joe. So, I nominated John because we all know Chelsea Lumber and what a great icon they are in this community. But this is really about the man, John, and what he does for this community. And I recognize a lot of the things that he does. It's not just raising the funds, but he's also a coach of the girls softball team. That takes a lot of time, and if any of you have coached a high school or middle school team, they don't get paid a whole lot for the amount of time and effort that they put into this. And I'm sure that John doesn't do that for the money. He does it to help influence young lives, put them on the right track, help them learn the game of softball. I had a joke about young girls, but we'll skip that because it's not about the girls. John's also on a Friday night. You're going to find him at the Chelsea High School football games doing the down markers in the fall. Not only at the high school games, but the next day you'll probably find him at the sidelines of the U of M football games doing the same thing. He does all that, takes time out of his busy schedule, and he serves on boards. He serves on the Senior Center board. He serves on the Chelsea Community Foundation board. He's very influential, and whenever there's a need in this community, like an indoor sports complex, you're going to see John right in the middle of it. And the reason, he had good mentors, his dad. And I'm sure Bob would be very proud of you, John. And he was an inspiration to a lot of people. So anyway, congratulations. This is a well-deserved award, and I'm going to hand it over to Pete.
I've known John a long time, and we competed together in sports. We competed against one another.
And you killed me.
Not true. We were neighbors. We've served together on different capacities around town, but everything that John does, if he puts his name on it, it's 100%. And that just makes him a great teammate, a great leader, and a great asset for our community. So I'd like to introduce all of you to the 2021 Citizen of the Year.
Oh my gosh. I can't thank you enough. Just hearing those individuals who I respect so much say those things means a tremendous amount to me. To receive this award, it has been, I look at the various people in the past that have received this award, and to be connected with them, to be part of that group, I am truly, truly honored. I really am. And it hits me right in the heart that I can be associated with them. I can be associated with all the individuals in the community. And it means so much to me. And to help is just something I want to do. And whether it's an organization, whether it's a fundraising thing, if I'm in on it, I'm going to give it my all. And I enjoy it, and I enjoy giving back to the community. The community has been so damn good to me, and so damn good to the company. And a thank you is not enough for what the community has done for me, for the business. It's tremendous. And I can't give back enough. And as long as, knock on wood, I stay healthy, I got a hell of a lot of different replacement parts in my body, whether you know that or not. I'm made of titanium, I'm telling you. But as long as I can keep moving around, and I'll be part of Chelsea, and I'll be part of future things also. I don't know if all of you know what my family's here, which if I look there, I'm going to cry. So I probably won't look there. And my son came in from Chicago, and I saw him 15 minutes before we came here, and I didn't know he was coming. And my brother and my sister-in-law is here, and my wife, Donna. I'll get it together here. I know where you are. Okay. But I don't know if all of you know, I want to lighten it up a little bit, but I don't know if you know that when they present you this award, you have no clue that it's coming. Ricky Eater had me hook, line, and sinker. I had no idea. 100% clueless. I've got a meeting with the owners of Chelsea Lumber Company. And it's going to be a heated meeting. Unusual than normal, but it's going to be hot topics. And there's going to be some people getting, I was going to say pissed off, so I'm going to say pissed off, okay? It's going to be one of those meetings, okay? So my brother always told me, you know, always be prepared ahead of time, always be more knowledgeable, so when you go into something, there's not many surprises that you can overcome. And I was ready. I had talked to my wife the night before about the meeting, and I was ready to go. 9 o'clock comes, 5 minutes into the meeting, it's at my office, the door's shut, somebody knocks on my damn door. I'm irritated. I'm not happy. The door's shut for a reason, because there's something going on. We open the door, and it's my lovely wife, Donna. Now my mindset changes. I think something's wrong. What's wrong, honey? What's going on? Somebody's hurt, something's happened. And in her sweet, loving way, if you guys know Donna, she says, no, honey, everything's okay. You just need to come with me for a few minutes. Now I have another mindset change. I'm irritated at my wife. I'm not happy. She knew about this meeting. She knows who's in front of me. What the hell are you doing? So I think I said, honey, do I really need to come now? And in her sweet, loving way, she said, yes, John, you do need to come now, just for a few minutes. Okay, now all you husbands out there, you know if I say something, I'm gonna mess up. I got potential of messing up if I say something that's not so good, because I'm irritated. But I don't. Thank God. So when I get home at night, okay, I get home and I'm received nicely. And I could have blew that. And I didn't, thank God. So I went out with her and we walked downstairs, and all the great people were there to present it to me, and I was overwhelmed, and it meant so much to me, and it really did. And I was surprised, and Ricky Eater, you did one hell of a job. You really did. I just want to take a quick few minutes. I want to talk about my mom and dad. And, you know, they did so much in this community. And I had front row seat to that. Growing up, I had the front row seat. I saw what they did. My mother would do things for the community in a very quiet and subtle way and not say much at all. My father, he was in the public eye. And he didn't seek it out, he just was. He always tried to stay back, but he was so strong in what mission he was wanting to accomplish, he was out there in front. And he just they gave back to the community. They really did. And again, we had front row seats. And I was fortunate to even, I worked with my father for over 30 years. And I was able to see it more and more and more. And a couple things that he said, and I always remembered, he said, if you're good to the community will be good to you. And that really stuck with me. It really did. And he also told me when you reach out and you help somebody, or they want advice, and they seek you out, and you take the time to give them that advice, whether it's personal, business, it didn't matter. Working with an organization, working with committees that are part of Chelsea, and giving that back, you'll have a feeling inside that you never regret. You'll never forget. It's second to none. And they instilled that in me. They really did. And as I got to adulthood, I was so proud of them. So proud. And to carry on that legacy as best I can gives me that feeling inside. I was so proud of them. I think they're looking down and they're proud of me tonight. Thank you very much.
Congrats, John. And last but most certainly not least, and from the one who'd never had a better day, if Gary Muntz could come up, grace the stage to introduce the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Take your time, Gary. I'm right here. I'm going to take my time. I am more than thrilled to be here this evening for a number of reasons. The first reason I'd like to say is I have the distinguished opportunity to introduce the Lifetime Achievement Award winners for 2021. It's no secret, they are Donna and Craig Common. I sat here tonight and I listened to people come up and speak, and I thought, oh, they just gave my speech. That's a good thing, actually, because the word that I heard and the things that I heard tonight, I want to talk a little bit about them myself. The word I heard was community. And I want us to all pause for a moment and reflect on the word community. We see each other as we pass in the streets, ball games, golf matches, walking on the trails. It's not often we have a chance to come together and sit down and think about what it is that makes our community the great place it is to be. We live here, we play here, we raise our families here. We share a sense of honesty, a sense of respect, a sense of trust, a sense of belonging. And the one thing that's been pointed out over and over and over is we share the fact that we care for the other people that we live with. We care for others. Our community is strongest when we step out of ourselves, our individual roles, and we lend our support to someone in the community that needs support. That's when we are at our strongest. If that is the measure of strength in our community, here is an example of that with Craig and Donna, stepping outside of themselves to support and help others. Their selfless efforts have touched and enriched the lives of more people than I can possibly imagine in our community. They've shown ongoing dedication to the arts here in Chelsea, to music, performing arts, to visual arts. You see it in the streets, you hear it at Sounds and Sights. They've been devoted supporters of education throughout their entire time here in Chelsea. They found very clever ways to enable our young students to follow careers in the arts, the performing arts, and the culinary arts. They've been the friend, the helper, the supporter of untold numbers of charitable groups, nonprofit groups here in town, young sports teams. Craig and Donna have always stood there and been there for them. They have made incredible contributions to our community. Those contributions have enriched us and will live with us for a long, long time. Donna and Craig have earned the respect of each and every one in this room. They exemplify the virtue of what it is to be a good citizen. I give to you the 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award winners, Donna and Craig Common.
Geez, Gary, that was heavy. I've got some notes here. One thing about writing notes, you need to write them bigger, okay? And I think about that every time I do something like this. Anyway, I want to congratulate the award recipients for tonight. Very well deserved. It's people like you and the organizations, you, Bobby, and all the other recipients, Michelle, that make it really fun to live, play, and work in Chelsea. Wait a minute, did I say work? Not anymore. Woo! Yeah! Woo-hoo! And John, your parents are very happy tonight, let me tell you. So the most important person I want to really talk about is my wife of 43 years. I always find it amazing when us guys start talking about their wives. We all start bawling and getting emotional and all that kind of stuff. And there's a reason for that, okay? Early on in my restaurant career, when we got together, she embraced the business. Very difficult business, especially young newlyweds, young kids. And so many times you got to say, no, we can't go. No, I've got to work. Yes, I can't do that. And when you own your own business, it gets worse. But she's always been there for me. She's my biggest supporter. She's a great partner, a great business partner. And what's interesting is, for me, I get to do all the fun stuff, all the good stuff. You know, shake hands, kiss babies, get all the accolades, you know, while she's doing all the crummy stuff downstairs, dealing with employees and other things, taxes, unemployment, all that crap. And she's very good at it. And believe me, without her, we wouldn't be up here tonight. Okay, let's be honest. I want to thank our employees, past and present. They believed in us from the get-go. They followed our vision from the beginning to the end. And we've had quite a few people go through the doors, and all of them have been, some of them are still there, but they've all been successful outside of the restaurant. We've had doctors, lawyers, restaurateurs, caterers, you name it. They've gone through our doors and they've all been successful. I'm very proud of that. I've always told them, when you leave the restaurant, remember where you started, remember your roots, remember what you were taught, so when you go out there, people are impressed with you. And I don't want to reflect bad on me. I must thank our guest loyalty, okay? Our guests were so loyal over the years, and we're very blessed and very fortunate for that. At the end here, we did, if you can believe this, 4.5 million meals over the 30 years. It's an incredible amount of people in that building. And we couldn't have done that with just Donna and I. We had a tremendous support staff. And so, and it was very important the last month that we were open, if you had a chance to get into the place, okay, people were saying, hey, you're not answering the phone. We were answering the phone. We were getting 1,500 phone calls a day, and you can only pick up the phone so many times. So we were. But the first week, it was 4 weeks of doing 500 people every single night. And we were fortunate because we had some ex-cooks, some ex-employee cooks, and some managers that came back to help us in the kitchen. Otherwise, it would have been very, very difficult. But when you're close to the subject matter, as I was, during every day, you're doing stuff, cutting fish, doing things. You know, we had very good business for 30 years, recognized the fact that people were happy when they came in, happy when they left. But in that first week, I didn't realize how much impact we had on people's lives. I was able, because we had the kitchen crew, I was able to work the floor. I'd open the door every night at 4 o'clock. The line started at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon to get into the restaurant for the 24 seats that we had at the beginning of the night. But I went up to this table the first week, and I, you know, how's everything going? And the guy goes, look what you did to my wife. And I turned over next to her, looked at her, and she starts bawling. And I'm going, wait a minute, it'll be all right. Okay, it's going to be all right. At that particular time, there was no news about what was going to happen to the restaurant and all that kind of stuff. Don and I were prepared to close the building if we had to, if we couldn't find anybody. Well, the first day was a Friday that we announced our retirement, and it went out in public and who was selling the restaurant, what the restaurant name was. Well, that week we had, not me, the broker, had 42 phone calls. And so we had an awful lot of good candidates, and we weren't going to sell the building to, I don't know, anybody but a restaurateur. That was very important to us. We recognized the fact of how important that real estate and that building was to keep it a restaurant, and hopefully somebody we could hand it off to that would use our name and our recipes. And fortunately, we found somebody, and there were some very good candidates that we had to vet out, but we feel very good about the Peas and Carrots group that have taken over as of April 1st. And I think they're doing a great job, and it makes me feel really good that we still have a top-notch restaurant in town, because her and I went there Friday night, and on the other side of the bar, it was pretty cool, pretty nice, you know, not have to worry about anything. So when we started, talking about retirement, it was in the summer of 21. I think I was ready. I was thinking I was ready. Well, you got to go through those emotions first, okay? And then you got to start thinking about picking out a date. And then when I saw Michelle hauling out books every day in January, I said, it's time to retire. I'm not doing that. So in January, we decided we were going to pick a date. We picked a date. There's no sense of why that date we picked. It was just a date. We wanted to give everybody a month to try and get into the restaurant. So here we are now. It's pretty nice being retired. Anyway, early on, some of the guys talked about getting involved in the community and stuff like that. Early on, after the restaurant was up and running and humming, I knew that it was important to get involved in the community. It had to be more than just running a restaurant. I needed to do more. And so I'm very happy for how we got involved, how we did it, leaving some things that, a week from Thursday is first night of Sounds and Sights and Thursday nights. First time in 2 years, we're going to have a festival in the parking lot. Really cool stuff that I can't wait for that to happen. Sculpture walk, and then all of the other things we got involved in the community from an art standpoint. Ann Arbor Art Association, co-chaired the Wine Fest for that. Served on the Planning Commission early on in my career here in town, which was a trip. It was really interesting. But I found that very rewarding, so don't be shy about getting involved. It's really great stuff. You meet so many good people, interact with so many people that care, and as Gary said, that's what it's all about. So I want to thank the past generation of entrepreneurs that had the vision of what Chelsea could be. I'd like to thank my generation of entrepreneurs for helping make Chelsea what it is today. And I want to shout out to the next generation of entrepreneurs. This is your time. Commit, be consistent, and strive to make Chelsea better than it is yesterday. And that, we just want to thank the Chamber for this award. It's been a great journey. It's been great to be a little part of the history of Chelsea. And thank you so much. Peace.
Thanks, Craig and Donna. And most exciting part, Terrace is going to do the 50-50 here. I want to give a quick shout out to Randy. He's in the back flirting. We're taking pictures all night. Thanks, Randy, as always. We appreciate you. And we'll pass it over to Terrace to close out the night here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Curtis. I'd just like to say one quick thing. The last sentence in the Chamber's mission statement is to maintain Chelsea as the premier place to live, work, and recreate. And therefore, I'd like to echo what Craig said. It is all of you, the awardees, the nominators, the people here tonight that make that possible. And so I just want to say thank you. I am very rarely not in awe of how much Chelsea supports everything that happens in this community.